Mark 16. Mark 16, all good in the hood. Got Matthew 16, Numbers 1 and 2, Ecclesiastics 3, 1 through 15. Matthew 16. Leaders demand a miraculous sign. One day the Pharisees and the Sadducees came to touch Jesus, claiming for him to show them a miraculous sign from heaven. He replied, "You know the saying, red sky at night means fair weather tomorrow. Red sky in the morning means foul weather all day. You are good at reading the weather signs in the sky, but you can't read the obvious signs of the times. Only an evil, faithless generations will ask for a miraculous sign, but the sign I will give them is just the sign of the prophet Jonah." Then Jesus left them and went away. The yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Later, after they crossed to the other side of the lake, the disciples discovered they had forgotten to bring any food. "Watch out," Jesus warned them. "Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." They decided he was saying this because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were thinking, so he said, "You have so little faith. Why are you worried about having no food? Won't you ever understand? Don't you remember the 5,000 I fed with 5 loaves and the basket of food that were left over? Don't you remember the 4,000 I fed with 7 loaves and the baskets of food left over? How could you even think I was talking about food? So again I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." Then at last they understood that he wasn't speaking about. Again I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then at last they understood that he wasn't speaking of Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then at last they understood that he wasn't speaking of Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then at last they understood that he wasn't speaking about. Gotta answer my mom. She called. Peter's declaration about Jesus. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "What do people say that the Son of Man is?" Well, they replied, "Some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, other people say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets." Then he asked them, "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "You are blessed, Simon, son of John, because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You did not learn this from any human being. Now I say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it. And I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you unlock on earth will be locked in heaven. Whatever you lock on earth will be locked in heaven, and whatever you open on earth will be open in heaven." Then he sternly warned them not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. Jesus predicts his death. From then on, Jesus began to tell his disciples plainly that he had to go to Jerusalem, and he told them what would happen to him there. He would suffer at the hands of the leaders, of the leading leaders and the leading priests and the teachers of religious law. He would be killed, and he would be raised on the 3rd day. But Peter took him aside and corrected him. "Heaven forbid, Lord," he said. "This will never happen to you." Jesus turned to Peter and said, "Get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view and not from God's." Then Jesus said to the disciples, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must put aside your selfish ambitions, shoulder your cross, and follow me. If you try to keep your life for yourself, you will lose it. But if you give your life for me, you will find true life. And how do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your soul in the process? Is anything worth more than your soul? For I, the Son of Man, will come into the glory of my Father and with his angels, and will judge all the people according to their deeds. And I assure you that some of you standing here right now will not die before you see me, the Son of Man, coming into my kingdom. That is Matthew 16, Numbers 1 through 2. 1 and 2. Numbers 1 and 2. Israel's first census. In the mid-spring, during the second year of Israel's departure from Egypt, the Lord spoke to Moses in the tabernacle in the wilderness of Sinai. He said, "Take a census of the whole community of Israel by their clans and families. List the names of all the men 20 years old or older who are able to go to war. You and Aaron are to direct the prophets, assisted by one family member from each tribe. These are the tribes and names of the leaders chosen for the task. Tribe, Reuben, leader. Elazar, son of Shadur. Simeon. Shalom, son of Jershashidati. Judah. Nashon, son of Abadad. Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zurah. Zebulun, Eliabad, son of Helon. Ephraim, son of Joseph. Elishama, son of Ammihud. Manasseh, son of Joseph. Galamiel, son of Perzatu. Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gideon. Dan, Alahir, son of Ammishaddai. Asher, Pagiel, son of Okran. Gad, Eliphaz, son of Durah. Naphtali, Ahiri, son of Enan. These tribal leaders, head of their own families, were chosen among all the people. Now Moses and Aaron and the chosen leaders called together the whole community of Israel on that very day. All of the people were registered according to their ancestry by the clans of family. The men of Israel, 20 years or older, were registered one by one, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So Moses counted the people there in the wilderness of Sinai. This is the number of men 20 years or older who were able to go to war, each listed according to his own clan and family. Tribe, Reuben, Jacob's oldest son, number 46,500. Simeon, 59,300. Gad, 45,650. Judah, 74,600. Issachar, 54,400. Zebulun, 57,400. Ephraim, son of Joseph, 40,500. Manasseh, son of Joseph, 32,200. Benjamin, 35,400. Dan, 62,700. Asher, 41,500. Naphtali, 53,400. These were the men counted by Moses and Aaron and the 12 leaders of Israel, all listed according to their ancestral descent. They were counted by family, all of the men of Israel who were 20 years or older and able to go to war. The total number was 603,550. But this total did not include the Levites, for the Lord had said to Moses, exempt the tribe of Levi from the census. Do not include them when you count the rest of the Israelites. You must put the Levites in charge of the tabernacle of the covenant, along with its furnishings and equipment. They must carry the tabernacle and its equipment as you travel, and they must care for it and camp around it. Whenever the tabernacle is moved, the Levites will take it down and set it up again. Anyone else who goes near the tabernacle will be executed. Each tribe of Israel will have a designated camping area with its own family banner, but the Levites will camp around the tabernacle of the covenant to offer the people of Israel protection from the Lord's fierce anger. The Levites are responsible to stand guard around the tabernacle, so the Israelites did everything just as Moses had commanded. Numbers 2, organization for Israel's camp. Then the Lord gave these instructions to Moses and Aaron. Each tribe will be assigned its own area in the camp, and the various groups will camp beneath their family banners. The tabernacle will be located at the center of these tribal compounds. The divisions of Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun are to camp toward the sunrise on the east side of the tabernacle beneath their family banners. These are the names of the tribes, leaders, and the numbers of their available troops. Judah, Nashon, son of Abadad, number 74,600. Issachar, Nethanel, son of Zur, 54,400. Zebulun, Eliab, son of Helon, 57,400. So the total of all the troops on Judah's side of the camp is 186,400. These tribes are to lead the way whenever the Israelites travel to a new campsite. The division of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad are to camp on the south sides of the tabernacle beneath their family banners. These are the name of the tribes, their leaders, and the number of available troops. Reuben, Elazar, son of Shedeur, 46,500. Simeon, Shelamun, son of Zahurshadadi, 59,300. Gad, Eliphaz, son of Deuel, 45,650. So the number of troops on the Reuben side of the camp is 151,450. These three tribes will be second in line whenever the Israelites travel. Then the Levite camps will set out for the tabernacle in the middle of the camp with the tabernacle, with all the tribes to travel in the same order that they camp, each in position under the appropriate family banner. The divisions of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin are to camp on the west side of the tabernacle beneath their family banners. These are the names of the tribes, their leaders, and the number of available troops. Ephraim, Elishama, son of Abihud, 45,500. Manasseh, Galiamel, son of Pedazur, 32,200. Benjamin, Abadad, son of Gideon, 35,400. So the total of all the troops of Ephraim's side of the camp is 108,100, and they will follow the Levites in the line of march. The division of Dan, Asher, and the Naphtali are to camp on the north side of the tabernacle beneath their family banners. These are the names of the tribe of their leaders and the numbers of their available troops. Dan, Alisir, son of Amishadadi, 62,700. Asher, Pagiel, son of Okran, 41,500. Naphtali, Ahir, son of Enan, 53,400. So the total troops of all on the side of Dan, the camp, is 157,600. They are to bring up the rear whenever the Israelites move to a new campsite. In summary, the troops of Israel listed by their families totaled 603,550. The Levites were exempted from this census by the Lord's command. So the people of Israel did everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Each clan and family set up camp and marched under their banners exactly as the Lord had instructed them. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, 1 through 15. A time for everything. Ecclesiastes 3, a time for everything. There's a time for everything, a season for every activity under heaven, A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to rebuild, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak up, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. But do people really get out all their hard work? I've thought about this in connection with various kinds of work God has given people to do. God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. So I conclude that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and enjoy themselves as long as they can. And the people should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. And I know that whatever God does is final. Nothing can be added or taken from it. God's purpose in this is that people should fear him. Whatever exists today and whatever will exist in the future has already existed in the past. For God calls each event back in its turn. Amen. Ecclesiastes 3:1-15. Stay blessed.